So we have the Image 3000 here. We're going to go over it with you. We're going to kind of start with the PLC programming. It is actually, if you can take a look here, it is in English or Spanish, just by hitting the language. We're going to do it in English. So right now we have auto run, edit recipe, system setup, and manual run. For manual run, you can do a few things. You can jog the auger. This will just, if we turn the fill motor on down here, turn the fill motor on, we can just jog the auger at the beginning of a run. So that just turns the auger, makes the product run, or at the end of a run, you can just hit the jog button as well. This is agitation. This is, again, manual operation. If you want to just test it, maybe make some product that's with fill. That's auger, agitation all the time, off. Again, that's going to be in a manual mode for setup. Here's your indexing. See down here? So when you set up your different bottles, you can just turn the conveyor on, which is right here. Conveyor on. And as you do your indexing, you can set up how you want to do your bottles. As you can see, the indexing is down further than where we're filling from, because we line up the bottles, and I'll show you that in a little bit. This is the neck clamp assembly. And again, you can manually set this up. Vibrate. Alright, that's our manual run. That's how you do your setups for your different bottles. I want to go to auto run. So in here, you can see we're at 2 turns. The recipe is 2 ounce. That's the name of the recipe. Filler's waiting. And coast, that's just going to be your clutch brake coast. You don't have to worry about that. You have a production counter on there. We ran 19 bottles. You can reset that if you want. You can do less or more on the turns, depending on how much product you want to come out. There's actually you can select the recipe. So right now we're going to go, the current recipe is recipe 1, and we're naming it 2 ounces. We can go to the next recipe and make it number 2 recipe, and you can see it's going to change. Number 2 recipe is 5 turns. So how we do a recipe, go into edit recipes. Your edit recipes, we're going to do recipe 1. We're going to name it 2 ounce. You can just change the name if you want. You can just hit that and change the name. Hit enter. We have turns. We're going to be in turns for your product. How many turns do you want? Well, we can do 2.15 turns. That's 2 full turns of the auger and 2 full turns of the auger and 0.15. You're going to do some trial runs with your product. The more turns you put in there, the more product will come out. Your agitation is going to be in with fill. That means the blade inside the wall here will turn when the auger turns. So we're going to be with fill, turns. Fill timeout is when, say, your operators leave for the lunch. If they leave the machine running, the machine will turn off if it doesn't have a cycle after 300 seconds here. So we'll just leave that high. We have page 2 recipes. Vibration, we're going to have that with fill, so it's going to vibrate the container a little bit as we're filling it. Vibrate after fill time, we have 1 second, so it's going to remain vibrating for 1 second. You can turn that down if you want. Here's all your delays. These are really important. Delay after fill, 0.5 seconds, half a second. We've set this up for your small bottle, okay? So right now we have a half a second for your delay after fill. It's after, when the auger is done turning, how long do you want your bottle to stay there? Transfer time. That's the time it takes for your bottle to get into the fill station with a half a second. And then settle time after transfer. You have that at a half a second. System setup. Again, going back into recipes. We set all this recipe up as recipe 1. We hit return. We can go into auto run. We can go to your select recipe. We're going to go back to the previous recipe, which is 1. Hit return. And as you can see, we have 2.15 turns. 2 ounce. It's named at 2 ounce. Waiting, and we're ready to run. We're going to hit stop right here because we're not going to start the auger yet. System setup. You don't have a lift on this, so you don't have to worry about that. Lift is off. Clamp time. How long do you want your clamp to stay out? Release time. How long do you want your clamp to before it comes out? We have 0 seconds, so right away it's going to come out. Release time, 2 seconds. So it's going to be out for 2 seconds. You're going to change that if your fill is longer. You want that to stay out longer. We have no cutoff on this machine, but if we ever had one, we have it there. Agitation shutoff, it will shut off after 2 minutes. Increment, decrement, we're going to go 0.25. So if you go more or less on the first screen, which is this, more or less, it's going to go up to as you can see, 0.25. It's probably a lot, so we'll change that. We'll go and return, system setup. We'll go 0.1. All right, so we'll go from 2.2 to 2.3 and vice versa. You can make that lower or higher, whatever you want. You have a level control in here, delay, but you don't have one in here. So we're going to disable the lift. There's no lift. We are indexing with the index enabled, neck clamp enabled, no cutoff device, and vibration enabled. You are ready to run. We're ready to run. Okay. So basically, we have an e-stop right here. If there's any problems at all, just push this button. It turns it off. We have to turn the conveyor on. We have to turn the fill motor on to run the machine. This is your vibrator intensity. We have it set at a certain intensity. Keep it right there. We have a conveyor speed control. This is about the speed we want to run your containers at. That's at almost 0.2. All right. We have your table over here. The table is really simple stuff here. We have power on off, and we have how fast you want it to turn. Right now we're turning at about this speed. If you can see, container's coming on. We have a backup photo eye. This photo eye has to be made for your product to run. So the bottles will have to back up all the way to here for it actually to fill. Okay, and I'll show you how that works. So we're gonna go ahead and run this real quick. All right, so go back up in here, auto run. We're set at 2.15 turns. We have all our settings, and we're gonna hit start. Once we push our bottles on, all right, now we're gonna run it. Steve, could you catch these bottles as they come off? There's a box over there, I think. Is there? And as you can see here, we're not made yet, so we're not gonna run. Once we make this photo eye, the bottles, we're gonna run. See over here, it's coming off. All right, and that's pretty much it. We're gonna hit stop. And a couple more things we're gonna go over with you real quick. This is your main box over here. If you ever have these are your contactors and overloads. If these ever trip out, you can hit reset on these. It's for your fill motor on the back. It's big fill motor, and then the agitation motor inside your fill head. You're going to bring 3 wires, as you can see right here. 3 wires. This is our main power coming in, and we're just tying right into the top here. That's your main disconnect. That has to be on for the machine to work. Right now it's on. We turn it off. Turn it off anytime you want to open that box or work on anything, okay? Inside here is your PLC. And you can see this is all your brains. This is your color touchscreen. This is your main PLC. You have a clutch brake power supply right here. The brake light is normally on if we turn on the fill motor. Oh. Yeah, turn the power on. So we have a clear relay over here that controls your clutch, and then pretty much this is your power supply right here for your AC drive. Okay, so what else do we have here? I think that's pretty much it. This is your fill head up here. That is, when we talk about things, that's your fill motor. Inside there is your clutch brake. You have an agitation and gear drive that drives your blade that sweeps the inner wall. A couple quick things: when you take the hopper off, you're just going to release these clamps. You're going to just take this bolt only. We have a little picture here, a little diagram. This bolt only. And this L bracket is coupling that all pulls out with your entire hopper. Okay, you take your funnel down, your auger down, and then this L bracket, coupling it, and hopper all stay together. And that pretty much concludes everything. Well, one last thing for raising and lowering your height adjustment. We have back here a little set screw. This is your double bell. So you can see on the back of the machine here, you're just going to loosen this up. And then down here is your crank, so you can raise and lower. We're going to give you a little handle to raise and lower. All right, and that's how you raise and lower your the machine. Over here again, these are all quick guides. Right now we're set up for your small bottle. You're going to have to move these a little bit for your big bottles. Up and down. These little guide rails adjust in and out. These little bolts raise up and down. So you have some adjustments here for your different size bottles, but once you get going, you should be good. Thank you very much. Give us a call if you have any questions. Thank you.